All right, and we are hopefully back. So guys, let me know how the how the lag is right now. Hopefully it's not terrible. I'm sorry about that 5-minute little delay. So much better. Still a little bit laggy. Still just a little bit laggy. All right, well, just keep me updated, guys. I changed the settings, and hopefully this will be better. But anyway, I've got a bunch of Instagrams lined up to review, and the main gist of this, guys, is just that we all have very different opinions of photography, and you are probably going to disagree with some of the things I'm going to say, which is actually really exciting because I think that if I'm not saying things that are that you disagree with, then I'm being safe and I'm not giving you real opinions. So hopefully there'll be a little bit of clashing in the comments, and this will be really fun. And if you want to know how to submit your photos, this is the last time I'm going to go over it. All you have to do is comment your Instagram in the live chat and include ideally what I have in the description of this, which is just include the camera settings, equipment used, and story behind the shot. Ideally, you'll actually post the Instagram photo you want reviewed at the top of your feed right now so I can get to it easily. Don't make things too hard for me. And then one other thing I want to say, guys, is I'm going to just start reviewing random Instagrams that I see you guys comment. However, if this gets too big and I can't really get to everyone, as I imagine I won't be able to, feel free to do the super chat feature where you can pay like $1 or $2 just to have your chat stand out. And again, I do not mean that you have to do that, but if you want to support me and show that you're serious about having your photo reviewed, that's definitely the way to do it. So I don't mean to be gimmicky or anything, but that's just wanted to throw that out there, guys. Anyway, let's begin with the reviewing. Now, one other thing I want to say is just I've never done this before, so let's hope this doesn't suck. All right, so first one we have is this BMXer. His Instagram is LewisH20. And here, let me flip screens. Boom. Hold on, let me just adjust this really quick. As you can see, guys, this is a learning process for everyone, and I'm still sort of figuring it all out. But this is going to be cool once we have everything not this terrible. One sec. Man, this is like the ultimate shout out for LewisH20. There we go. Just drag this out a little bit. So I had to change the resolution to get this going earlier. So sorry about this, guys. Almost there. And beautiful. Now I look like I know how to use a computer. That's great. And we just hide my bookmarks. All right, there we go. So Lewis HB, just take a quick cruise through his Instagram, and there's some really cool stuff here. So he might be watching my tutorials. We see got a little astrophotography action. Oh man, the Northern Lights. I'm such a sucker for the Northern Lights. Let's talk about this image right here, though. This is an interesting thing. He used the slow shutter panning photography effect. I recently did a tutorial on this, which might be part of the bias as to why I'm choosing this image. But some thoughts on this. So first of all, it's awesome. It's really cool seeing how this makes the BMX biker look like he's going that much faster. BMX or dirt biking, whatever you want to call it. It looks like he's going much faster, which is super cool. Things I would change about this. Well, first, what I really like, I also think that he used the perfect shutter speed where you can see that he hit a jump and it looks like he's airing over something. Now what I would change a little bit is you see that person on the left who looks like he's also taking a photo maybe, or just an observer. Having him out of the photo, so changing your angle so it's just the real subject in the photo is always a good move. Yeah, that's definitely something to consider. And then, let's see. And yeah, let's move on now. I don't want to dwell too long on any one person's Instagram. Hey, and I just want to say, Miles Hammond, thank you so much for the €1. I've never actually done this before. It's really flattering that you guys would want to, listen to my garbage. So, Miles, what is your Instagram? Throw it in the comments so I can find it really quick. And in the meantime, let's start with another one. Okay, I have one from, let's go to Acapix. He was in the chat earlier. He threw up his Instagram, and I gotta give the shout out to the people that were here before we even started. Super on it. So let's look at, all right, just a random image that's gonna catch my eye. Here we go. Acapix. This is in Times Square. So let's talk about things that we like and things that we don't like in this image. So first of all, my immediate thought is, well, okay, this is really interesting. You have the red jacket and the red chairs, and they complement each other really nicely. Now, talking about the balance in an image is really, really important because it keeps man, I don't know what I'm saying. This is definitely a strange thing trying to go live, so I have to sometimes just take a minute to think about what I want to talk about. Another thing is like what I would do here, and again, this is by no means saying that like this is what you're supposed to do or what is right, but a couple suggestions. Micah Curtis. Sorry guys, just reading some chat comments. Some suggestions. Times Square is super busy and you have a lot of crazy stuff going on behind her. And one thing that can make this image really cool would be using a lower aperture number and getting some nice shallow depth of field, because when you have a really busy cityscape, and using the shallow depth of field gives you two things. So first, it lets you focus on your subject a little bit more by blurring out the background. And if you guys know what bokeh is when the lights basically behind the subject are so out of focus that they just form circles. And let me pull up an example of a bokeh image. I wish I've shot a bunch of bokeh, I've done a whole bokeh tutorial, but I'm just going to show you guys a picture of bokeh just to give you an idea from Google. One sec, guys. All right. Yeah, so this is bokeh, and that's one of those things that makes a portrait easily really, really compelling. So definitely, experiment with that. And if you guys are curious, I have a tutorial called Bokeh Photography for Beginners, which is an easy way to learn about bokeh photography. And let's go back to my face. All right, there we are. So those two photos down. Let's keep this going. What do you guys think of this, by the way? This is all one big experiment, so yeah, let me know if this is lame or what I can do to make this better. Also, if you guys want me to spend more or less time on individual images, this is all just one big refining process, so please let me know. Okay, and also, if you guys are enjoying this, hit me with the thumbs up, because that'll make my life better, bring more people in, and it really helps me. Anyway, next person we have Micah Curtis. And okay, all right, this is pretty cool. Let me flip the screen really quick. Boom. Oh. All right, so first things first, Micah has the ultimate dedicated Instagram. I'm sure you guys have probably seen some of these feeds before where they totally dedicate multiple posts to one image, which is really cool. I have a couple thoughts on this though. So first of all, I love it. I think it's the coolest thing ever, and I have the utmost respect for people that are dedicated to keep this going, because it is definitely like a committed thing. However, one thing that can be problematic with this, for those of you who are trying to rise up on Instagram or anything, Instagram is no longer a chronological feed. It's algorithm driven, which means the best posts rise to the top. If you get more likes, more comments, more people are going to see it. So when you have an Instagram like this, this is pretty cool and it looks really awesome on the feed, and I want to show you guys another one in a second, another Instagram I really like. But when you post just this image, this is not an exciting image, right? So people are going to see this that might not get as many likes as the next one, and you see 59 likes versus 35. So it is an interesting thing. It looks super cool, but it does give you a big hit to just your growth on Instagram. So definitely something to consider there. But again, respect to people that are doing this right. And let me pull up this one other Instagrammer I really like who has the sickest feed, and he's super dedicated to the Yeah, it's Casey McPerry. If you guys have heard of him, let me pull him up. Casey McPerry. So just check out this feed really quick. It's gonna blow your minds. And again, this actually looks better right now. I'm using the Instagram desktop, but it looks way, way, way better on a phone because all of these images actually align into one greater story, which is nuts. And he does videos too. Definitely check this guy out if you guys want to see some really sick Instagram content and be inspired. All right, next guy. Let's see. Who to next? All right, next person, we are gonna find an Instagram that I like or think is interesting. All right, here, I've got one right here. Oh, and for those of you who are new to this, just a quick update on what is happening. We're doing the first ever live photo review. This is one big experiment. I don't know how this is gonna go, but basically just know that Instagram and photography, what is right is all super subjective, and hopefully you guys will disagree with some of my opinions because that means that I'm giving you guys real opinions. That's the real goal here. So anyway, we've got this image from Luka Matkovic. One second, let me flip the screen for you guys. And again, thank you guys so much for bearing with me. I know this is a little bit clunky at times. Oh, and thank you so much for the €2 donation, Miles. Seriously, you're the man, and you're getting reviewed next. I really appreciate that, guys. And again, I'm going to try and review as many people as I possibly can, but know that it's not going to be, I can't get to everyone. So if you are really serious about this, feel free to hit me with a super chat, and I'd be really greatly appreciated, and I will review your photo for sure. And Julian Bright, I see you too. Thank you so much for that. And you are right after Miles. So anyway, this image from Luka, from what's his name? Luka. Skateboarding image. I'm a sucker for skateboarding images. And one thing that I think he did really, really well is you see he got super low to the ground. If you look at the bottom of the image, there's a lot of texture, which basically means that he was lying on the ground, which is good because it makes the obstacle that he's riding on look much larger. And using the right lens too, it looks like he used an 18mm wide angle. Wide angles and fisheye lenses are really great for making an image look a little more dramatic and making like the obstacles look bigger and such. What I don't like about this image, I have two thoughts. First, it's butt shot, and what butt shot means is pretty obvious. It means that you are looking at the skater's butt instead of the face, and you always want to try to avoid that. So I would be on the other side of it next time. Another thing is, and this is one of my more controversial opinions, guys, and a lot of people are going to be disagreeing with me, and actually, on that note, I would love to hear what you guys think of this. But personally, I really don't like black and white images. I think that they always look really, really good. And the problem with that is it sort of becomes a crutch. It becomes like an artistic crutch where you take an okay photo, you make it black and white, and then it looks amazing. And again, if you're shooting film, I think it's, you're using black and white film. That's super cool. But and again, it's fine, but as a challenge to you guys, I would say try shooting in color and try to take full advantage of that. And then when you are ready to use black and white and you think it's the time, it'll be that much more compelling. Again, just my opinion. And if you have any thoughts on that, as I'm sure some of you guys do, hit me in the live chat because I love to argue with people. All right, so next image. Thank you, SJLC Photography, so much for the donation. I'll get to you in 1 second. We're gonna do Miles Hammond. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep track of all this and it is kind of crazy right now. So, let's talk about Miles. 1 sec, let's flip the screen. All right, we are on Miles Hammond's Instagram, and okay, so this is interesting. He is one of those guys who is committed to the 8x10 aesthetic. So for those of you who don't know, Instagram only lets you, or he's committed to the, sorry, Instagram only lets you post 8x10s, and anything wider or taller, basically it's cropped. So one way to get around this is having the white bars on images like this so that you can see everything. And that's, I kind of struggle with that because I think the feed looks way better if you either fully commit to this or fully commit to never having any white bars. So he's committed to the white bars, and yeah, I gotta respect that. And he has this cool theme going on in threes. You guys in your dedicated Instagrams, I'm really jealous of this. So let's talk about this image right here. This is a really interesting thing. So it looks like he shot it on film. You got that nice noise. And this is a really cool street photo. What I like about this is that the one guy in the background, he clearly is catching the image. Well, this guy is just so much in his zone, trying to keep himself dry. There's a lot of energy in this photo, and he was in the action. That's one of those things that can make street photos way more compelling, is just being involved, like being up close. Sometimes I like to cheat and use like a telephoto lens to be afar, which is a little more voyeuristic. This is like a more like in-your-face style of street photography, which is really cool. So Miles, thank you so much for showing me your Instagram, and let's move on to Julian Bright. Okay, what image should we do? Wow, okay, Julian has a very cool Instagram. I'm not just saying that, guys. I'm actually stoked on this. Julian looks like he's just doing lots of really sick things. Let me just cruise through this really quick and look at a couple of these. Okay. Shout out to my slow internet. Okay, let's talk about this photo right here. So let's ignore the fact that it's a longboard. That's cool. No judgment there. As a core skateboarder, I'm not going to say anything. I'm not core. But anyway, what I like about this is he did very well with the reflection. And one thing you can tell he did is if you want to get a good reflection, getting low to the ground will allow you to show more of the water and get the full body in there. So if you were to stand up straight, you might only see the reflection all the way up to like his knees and miss the entire head. But getting super low guarantees you a really nice reflection. A little composition trick, and this is honestly not a huge deal, but it's something to consider, is look at the tree that's coming out of his head. I find it a little bit distracting. Anything that stems up from a photo, it looks weird if it's coming out of someone's head. So what I would try and do is maybe position him in between the light post on the left and the tree on the right, and then you have a natural frame, or the two trees on the left, rather than being kind of caught up. It looks like he's being impaled right now in a really dramatic way, basically. But anyway, thank you so much for submitting, and let's move on to the next one. We've got one from Hdr Creations, just gave a super chat. Thank you so much. I have no idea what I'm about to find. Let's hope that it's good. This is kind of a crazy adventure, guys. Just jumping in the deep end. Okay, all right. This is a man that doesn't mess around. James Lagate. I can already tell. You look at an Instagram and immediately you sort of have an idea of what they're all about. And wow, okay, this is some really cool stuff. Okay, let's talk about. This catches my eye. This is a really nice photo. All right, so a couple things that he did in this photo. He used a slow shutter speed, so you see some of the drag on that waterfalls, or the series of waterfalls, which is super cool. A little bit overexposed in the top left, but that's, you know what, that's not even a problem. That's kind of nice. Really nice lighting. Let's talk about shooting waterfalls and going on adventures. Oh, Triglav National Park. I was there a month ago. So water is a really good thing to shoot when you're going on adventures. If you go to, say, like a national park, let's show some face really quick. real quick, before I talk about water, I just want to say, for those of you who've just joined me, welcome. We are doing my first ever live photo review. And if you want to submit your photos, just toss your Instagram in in the description or the chat, and I'll try to get to it. And if you're serious about this and you hit me with the donation, I will try my best to guarantee you that I will review your Instagram. I don't mean to favor those who are donating, but it definitely shows that you're more serious about this, and it really helps me out. So I gotta send love when it's given to me. So yeah, when you go on an adventure, say you go to a national park and you're going on a hike and you want to shoot lots of photos, sometimes landscapes don't look that great during the middle of the day, during high noon when the sun's overhead. It's just not the best lighting. So one thing that does look really great during the day is waterfalls or any sort of water. You always got really good reflections. So what I try and do when I go to like a national park is I strategize. I'll hit water and such during the day, and then make sure I'm somewhere awesome during sunrise and sunset to guarantee just strategically good images all around and always having the right lighting that I want. And Christian Kumrick, thank you so much for the donation. You're the man. You guys are all the man for joining me, and this is pretty fun. So let's go review a few more images. I think I'm going to do this, by the way, guys, for maybe either another 45 minutes or so. But this is also like pretty high energy, so we're just going to see how long I can do this before I get burnt out. So let's talk about someone's images. Who to next? All right, we have got SJLC Photography. Thank you so much for submitting your images, and let's see what he's got. You know what? The most recent image you just posted is, at first glance, my favorite thing that I've seen. So let's dig into this and see what's up. Thomas. Okay, I'm curious where he shot this photo. It's beautiful. So you've got these nice tire tracks that are this perfect leading line and this really nice V that lead you through the photo. And to talk about composition a little bit, guys, lines are a really great way. Basically, some images you look at, and if it has good composition, your eye is guided in one way. You know exactly what to look at. And on a very unrelated side note, shout out to Black Ninja, who's in the chat. Ninja is the man, and he's got a great YouTube channel if you want to see some hijinks. Yeah, what's up, Steve? So yeah, this is super cool, and also nice use of the rule of thirds. Let me think. I know this isn't your aesthetic, looking at these shots, but I think something that could be interesting here, and one little trick I like to give to people that are shooting any sort of landscapes is sometimes if you have a shot that's like really cool and a great backdrop, the one thing you can do to actually step it up even more is add a subject, make it a portrait. So there's good landscape photography and there's good portrait photography, and then there's combining the two and having an amazing landscape with a really nice portrait in the foreground, and that's like the double whammy of photographic excellence. So definitely something to consider. Sometimes you just want to toss a friend in there just to make things interesting. But yeah, not that you have to, and they're two definitely very different realms of photography. So let's see, who is next to be reviewed? Okay. All right, next off we've got Kevin Galarza, who is an iPhone photographer. Let's flip the screen real quick. Really quick, guys, just in the super chat, can you let me know what you think of this so far? Are you liking the pace that I'm going at? Would you rather I spend a little more time on each image? I don't know, let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like me to talk about, and I definitely will try my best to do so. Anyway, next images, and I just hit my laptop with my water bottle. Excellent. Okay, so we've got Kevin Galarza, and all right. So he's an iPhone 6 photographer, and let's cruise through a few of these images. Hey, Jack's Tutorial is here. Welcome to the live chat. I look at your videos sometimes. What's up, man? Alright, you know what? Let's just talk about this first image. So, first of all, he's an iPhone 6 photographer. So some suggestions on taking great iPhone photographs. Sometimes it's nice just to mess around with different apps. And one app that I like to use for when you're shooting into the sunlight is Hdr Pro. Now, iPhone does have the HDR feature, but I think that it's not as good and doesn't give you as many options as Hdr Pro app, which will basically let you, it takes two different photos and it combines them. One is really bright and one's really dark, and it averages them out so it's not too stark of a contrast. And you look and see in the top left-hand corner, the sun's really overexposed and the subject is a little bit dark. An HDR would have solved this problem. Another thing that I think this image would make this image way more strong is you have this nice, dark, long shadow. Looks like it was shot, you know, around golden hour before sunset. Also, Puerto Rico is an amazing place. I like shadows. I don't like when they're cut off from the image. So what I would do is I would try and position him in a way that you have the entire shadow, and you could even try and frame him up so it's only him in the shadow rather than all this surrounding area, so a little more focused. But I also can see that he was going for the guiding lines with the street in between the car and the curb on the right. Now, another thing that would make this image much stronger, in my opinion, is you got to think when you're trying to decide between horizontal and or landscape and portrait photography. And for those of you who don't know, a landscape photo is when you're shooting with the camera sideways. Portrait is the tall ways up. So what we just looked at was a portrait image. Now, you got to ask yourself, what's going to capture the most action? And in this image, there's a lot of information. Let me flip back. There's a lot of information down below where it's like, okay, well, we're just looking at some street, and I don't know, there's nothing too exciting here. So how could we step that up? Maybe you should go landscape and capture more action on the sides because it looks like there's some cool buildings. So yeah, it's just a matter of thinking about what you have going on and what's going to be the most interesting. Anyway, let's move on to the next photographer. One sec, let's pull someone up. This is like kind of a blast just to, you know, be like, all right, we're going to pull this guy up. I have no idea what he's going to have, what I'm going to say about it. Because normally I'd make a photo tutorial or a photo review, and I would spend a while trying to figure out exactly what I'm going to say. Sometimes I even take notes before doing it. So this is just one big experiment. And for those of you who are new to this stream, I'm sorry for repeating myself to those of you who aren't, but welcome. This is my first live photo tutorial photo review ever, and we are going to try and review as many photos as we can today. I'm going to do this for another 30 minutes or until my voice gives out, whatever comes first. Another thing I want to say, guys, is there is this feature called Super Chat. I'm sorry to be self-promotional, but basically, if you chip in a few bucks, it shows that you're serious and you want your image reviewed, and it really helps me. So I'm going to try to just pick random comments, but the problem is we've got so many coming in. So if you want to stand out, that is definitely the way to do so, and it's really greatly appreciated. And I hope I'm being straightforward about this. I don't want to, try and, con you guys or anything. So anyway, we've got this next photographer, Matt, or Noep photographer, and let's pick a compelling image to talk about. Let's just kind of cruise through real quick. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, let's talk about this series of images. So, first of all, this is kind of interesting. It's a different perspective that you normally wouldn't see for a skate photo, because you don't really see any of the ramp, and you're like, where is he? Is he floating in the middle of space? Which is a good and bad thing. I mean, it's kind of abstract. One thing I would try not to do is, one, look at his left arm and see that it's cut off. That's a pretty massive no-go. Really try your best not to do that, because it seems like poor composition. Another thing is, it doesn't look like this trick was necessarily landed. And if you're trying to shoot skating and you don't skate, you want to make sure you get an image that was a trick that either was landed or very close to being landed, just so it looks good. And if you don't skate, ask someone that does skate. Like this trick, I look at this, I'm like, okay, there's a pretty good chance he landed that. The board looks a little wonky, but yeah, it looks a little more in control. So with this image, I would just try, the camera's a little bit crooked, which isn't necessarily a problem. I definitely think that like you have this line of the coping of the bowl, this metal line, which is super cool, and you have this potential to have it kind of guide your eye through the image. And one thing that also makes an image way stronger is having it actually meet the corners. So sometimes what I would try and do is maybe if you have a fisheye lens, try and get in the bottom of the bowl. And this isn't guaranteed to be easy, but and I'll actually, I wish I had an archive of my images just to pull up and show you guys. But basically what I would try and do is align it so that the line of the coping, if you can, meets one corner of the image and meets maybe another corner of the image, whether it be the top left or whatever, so that your eye is guided throughout. And you have this nice leading line. And Jessica Rodriguez, thank you so much for the donation. You guys are amazing. And Skate Illuminati, really quick, I want to talk about this guy, Skate Illuminati. He makes these really crazy animations that have been incorporating me lately. They're not politically correct and they're pretty edgy, but they're interesting. So if you want to see someone make fun of the entire skateboarding YouTube scene, with, you know, he doesn't really care much. He's reckless actually. It's a YouTube to check out. Anyway, let's hit someone else. Hey, really quick, someone's Instagram jar Desai, it's not working. So can you send it to me again? I'm not sure if you gave me the wrong link or not. Okay. Anyway, let's move on to someone else. Oh, and one other thing, if you guys are enjoying this, be sure to hit me with a thumbs up because it really helps. And yeah, that's kind of it. Anyway, let's move on to more images. This is fun. I'm finding this very exhilarating. This is high pace. I can see how people get addicted to live streaming. Like, there are people that seem to live stream their lives away, and I will never be one of those people. Or maybe I'm catching the bug. Who knows? Okay, so we've got Kevin J. Guardia. One sec. Thank you so much, Kristen, for the super chat. You guys are really, really amazing. This is very flattering that people actually, for some reason, care about my opinion. So thank you guys so much. Let me just type in her Instagram so I don't forget. Okay, we've got it here. Good. All right, so Kevin J. Guardia. Let's cruise through a little bit. Okay, looks like some stuff in Europe. Always appreciated. Okay, you know what? First image that catches my eye, that's like a really strong image, is this one right here. So, looks like it's his friend Judah. And here's what I like about this image. So first of all, in the discussion of like portrait versus landscape, his subject, Judah, fills up the image really nicely. And it's got a casual face on. I like the shallow depth of field. So you see, you know, these lines. Notice how all of the lines of the bricks kind of form this pattern that guides your eye throughout the image. That's super cool and not hard to do. And I say that not as an insult to Kevin, but as an inspiration to you guys. Putting someone up against a wall with a shallow depth of field and getting pretty close to the wall is always a good move. Also, notice the lighting is really solid. It looks like it's coming from around his right side, which gives it a nice dramatic feel. And yeah, this is just a pretty solid but simple portrait. So good stuff, Kevin. Yes. Okay. And all right. Let's see who is next. One sec, guys. Ooh, we've got a pretty cool Instagram coming up. Christian Kumrick has some cool stuff on it. One sec, I'm just trying to sort out what's happening in this chat and not fall behind because things are going fast right now. Hey, by the way, guys, thank you so much for joining me. I'm having a blast. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this and learning something. And you know what? I want to show you one thing before we do someone else's Instagram. The one other thing I wanted to say about Kevin's image is how to shoot people's portraits. Let me find this Google image, where to shoot. Hey, Christopher, thank you so much for the donation. You were amazing. You guys are all, this is super cool. Okay, let me see. So basically with portraiture, there are certain parts of the body you do and don't want to cut off so it doesn't look like an awkward image. For example, a really common shot is one in which you see right around here and their head. And then there are awkward parts to cut off of an image, like if you cut off around like half of their legs, it can look kind of weird. Let me see if I can find this. If I can't find it in 30 seconds, I'm just gonna put a link later on for you guys to see. Portraiture. Here we go. So if you want to look at this yourself, you can just Google portraiture body chart. Oh wow, thank you guys so much for the donations. You are all amazing. It's blowing my mind. This is one of the most flattering things. So thank you very much. Okay, let's flip this screen really quick. And Chandler Bell and Cage, I will be getting to your images shortly. 1 second. All right, so look at this chart. You see these green lines? These are the things that you're going to want to try and have the photo cut off around. The red lines are where you don't want a photo to cut off. So look at that red line right below the crotch. That is an awkward, weird shot where like cutting off right past their hands is kind of weird, not showing their fingers. Definitely something to consider. Just Google, what was it? Portraiture body chart, and that'll hook you up real nicely. And let's hit someone else's Instagram. Oh, I wanted to do Christian Kumrix. Okay, so immediately I noticed that Christian has a real aesthetic to his feed. He has this darker vibe, which is cool. I'm a sucker for these committed Instagrams because if you look at mine, it's pretty eclectic and it's a little hard to stay focused on like what's he really all about. Is he skateboarding? Is he photo? And this is like, oh, I know exactly what he's doing. So let's talk about this image. This image catches my eye immediately, and it's just like this is a good times image. Compositionally, it's clean. No crazy risks. One thing I would consider is, again, as far as framing it goes, you see you have these two trees. One that's cutting into her on the left, and it doesn't jut out of her like the other one I was talking about earlier. That's fine. But there's an interesting potential here where if he were to get a little bit lower, he could create this really nice rectangle between the bench, the tree on her left, and the tree on her right, and frame her up so she's in this perfect frame. And that's one of those like easy composition moves to give an image like a really strong kind of oomph, to step it up a bit. But this is cool. This is a moment, and he captured it. The girl's having a great time. Probably ripped her jeans, just having so much fun. Camping, lovely. I don't know what I'm saying right now. Okay, let's talk about Jess in focus. So, interesting. Let's cruise. All right. Okay, so a lot of portraiture on here. Okay, let's talk about this image. This catches my eye, and I'm not sure if I should be doing the images that catch my eye or the images that don't for critiquing purposes, but I look at this and I'm like, I know this is going to be a really strong image. So notice the framing on this shot. So first of all, it cuts off exactly where you want it to cut off. You have just right above his head, right below his knees. It's strong. It's a really, really strong composition. The guy looks comfortable, looks like himself, and he looks weird, good weird, as in it seems like it wasn't just, hey, sit down. He actually was being himself, which is really cool. Portraiture is definitely not my strong suit, but something to consider is like there is good strategy on not telling your models exactly what to do, and instead just letting them, be themselves. And say, instead of saying, hey, sit there and frown, you say, channel your anger, think about something that makes you sad, and don't actually say, okay, put your hands down. Say like, pretend that you don't have that much defense on, or like, that doesn't make any sense. But you guys see the point. Basically just send them in a certain direction rather than telling them exactly what to do and like micromanaging in that sense. Anyway, let's move on to another Instagram. Let's see. All right, who have I not gotten to yet? A lot of you guys. Okay, Jar Desai. I was having trouble with your Instagram earlier. Let's see if we can get it working now. Oh, here, let me ask you guys a question really quick while I'm pulling up Instagrams. What do you guys think of this as opposed to photo review videos? I mean, I'm having a lot of fun. I could see myself doing this pretty regularly. Would you guys want to see more of these versus more photo review videos? Both. I don't know. I mean, the problem with it is you guys have sent me so many, like I have an email full of thousands of emails right now of images you guys want reviewed, and I want to get to as many as possible, but it's hard. I just 15 minutes reviewing 15 photos in a video can take a pretty long time. It can take like an hour and a half filming wise. So this is kind of a cool way. I feel like we're knocking out a lot right now, which is a lot of fun. Oh, you guys are liking these. This is really amazing. All right, let me get a few more Instagrams pulled up, and then we go back in the reviewing game. Whew, this is intense. Okay. Trevor Groen. Hey, and for those of you, let me just do one more intro. For those of you who've been watching the entire time, you were amazing. Thank you so much for sticking with me. For those of you who are new to this, know that this is my first ever live photo review. This is one big experiment, so any feedback you have is greatly appreciated. And for those of you who aren't watching this live right now, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel tomorrow or whatever, know that I'm responding to the live chat, which you can't see, but it's there. And I will probably be doing more of these because this is a lot of fun. So let's get back to it. I've got a few Instagrams pulled up. Okay. Let me pull up one more. Okay. Jared Sanders. Jared, I hope I'm saying that right. Looks like, all right. We can debate how to say his name, or we could debate the quality of his photos. Let's do that. Okay, so we've got some good stuff here. You can just see, you look at this immediately, you're like, all right, there's definitely some action going on here. Man, what do I even talk about? Which one should I do? All right, let's talk about this image right here. This catches my eye. I see these nice little, what I like to call light baths. And a light bath to me is, you see these like little, baths of, that's exactly what it sounds like. But it's basically, it's little bits of light surrounded by darkness. And you can see that his face is perfectly lit up from light coming through a window. Well, none of his body is otherwise. And you kind of see that, like that stripe of light. And that's a really cool way just to sort of drive focus toward a certain part of the image, or his subject. And that's a really good thing to do. He knows what he's doing in that sense. Okay, so another thing, and this is small, but again, what I was talking about earlier with the the pulls and things coming from people's heads, I don't like that there is a pull coming from his head. You see it right over his head. That's kind of odd. So I would try to avoid that, and you could do that by having him in the exact same position, but you as the photographer moving a little bit to the right. But all in all, this is it's a cool shot. He clearly has a good understanding of lighting, and Yeah, this is neat. It looks like a really sick location, maybe some sort of abandoned something. Anyway, let's move on to another Instagram that I haven't vetted yet. So many freaking surprises. Okay, so let me just check the live chat really quick. Lots of interesting emojis and such. Interesting. All right. Whew. Okay. Let's talk about Chandler Bell. So Chandler, first of all, in the message he sent me, he said that he's been watching my videos for a long time, since the old skateboarding days. Thank you so much, man. The people that have stuck with me for this long transition from being only skateboarding to dabbling with photography, it's very cool, and I appreciate everyone that's, you know, that's sticking with me and dealing with all my shenanigans. All right, let's dig into this Instagram. All right, so as you guys know, I'm a big sucker for anything outdoorsy. So, you know, great way to win my heart if you want to submit shots. Let's see. Okay, let's look at this image real quick. The view from my hammock. Interesting. So again, with we're talking about light bats here. If you look at the rock on the bottom, you see that you have little splotches of light and shadows. And I think that's really cool. That's one of those appeals of shooting when the sun's going down. Looks like it's verging on golden hour, but not quite. Maybe not. It's hard to tell really. But the fact of the matter is, having an image where you have splotches of shadows and splotches of sunlight, I think is way more compelling than just having all sun. Another thing that has potential is basically it looks like you use the top of the trees to frame the image up top. So you see the subject, the backpacker, is framed between the rock and the tree branches overhanging. Now something I could do to make a big difference about this, to improve the image a little more. Let's go back to the face so you can see what's up. If you were to get lower, and I understand you were in a hammock, and okay, another little preface here is like, when I talk about composition, it's hard to know exactly what could be done. So sometimes maybe he's on the edge of a cliff and he couldn't move anywhere. This is the only possible shot. So I kind of have to go off of just guessing and say, all right, maybe he could have moved this way, or that way. So I'm guessing here, but ideally I would have liked for him to be lower so that the trees up top actually come and overhang more, and you have this gap between the subject, maybe basically there's a lot of room in the sky between the subject and the trees. So I would try and be lower to place your subject, and if you're lower, your subject looks taller basically, which would make his head closer to the tops of the trees, and that just makes sort of a tighter frame, which in my opinion is more compelling. But again, this is a pretty cool image, and yeah, let's move on. So our next review, we've got a guy named Trevor Groen, and Trevor sent me his website. Now, I want to stick to Instagram for the most part, but because Trevor sent a generous donation, I want to send back a little generosity his way, and we'll go into his website, which does look pretty well designed. So let's explore this thing. Trevor Groen, photographer and designer. One little concern I have that I'm just trying to figure out now is, you know, I want to definitely take the people who do super chats first, because, you know, they really put themselves out there. They're helping me out. I'd like to help them out in return, but I also want to do everyone. So I'm concerned that this might become a sort of like just a promotional thing where the serious photographers show off their stuff. And I know that so far we've seen a lot of really top-notch work. So I just want to say, you know, if you're an amateur beginner photographer, don't feel afraid to submit. I'm not going to be too mean, and if I'm going to be mean, it's only for the sake of making you a better photographer. I want to give constructive criticism. I don't want to just, you know, tear people apart. So no matter what skill level you're at, don't be afraid to submit some images. So let's soak this in. Let's soak this in real quick. yeah, I mean, Trevor, first glance, seems to be the kind of guy who doesn't necessarily need to have his images reviewed. In that, these are really, really strong. And I'm not claiming to be the best photographer. And you know, some of you guys are probably better than me. These images are like, wow, I would love to take stuff like this. Yeah, all right. I really like this. This is just, he shot this at a really nice time of day. So you have those batches of light, whatever you want to call it, as well as just a really nice pink, and you have the deep shadows. So notice that you have these blacks in between the flowers where there's nothing. Really, really deep blacks. And that looks really great. So let's go back to my face. And I just want to say, one little trick to doing this, guys, is when you're messing with an image and you're editing it, I'd be using typically Lightroom or, typically Lightroom. And basically, if you drive up the blacks, making the blacks deeper black, this will make for like really dramatic, darker, sort of like, it has a feel to it. It's a darker feel to it, and it's beautiful. So if you have a part of the image, what I mean by this, sorry, I'm rambling a bit. If you have a part of the image that's kind of gray or a little bit dark, by driving up the blacks, it'll make that part of the image totally dark. And a lot of the popular Instagrammers love to do that because it gives a good dramatic feel to the image, which is always a cool thing. And let's do this for 15 more minutes, guys. My voice is slowly going, and you know, this is definitely a lot. So I'm having fun. Submit your Instagrams in the comments, and yeah, just one more thing I want to say. I'm sorry for being so self-promotional, but anyone that hits me with the super chat, I guarantee I will try and get to your image, because you know, I wanna help those who help me. That's all. And yeah, Cam James Foreman, thank you so much for the donation. I guess another reason why I'm so much talking about the super chats is I feel bad, guys. I don't want to be like too like self-promotional or like I don't know, greedy or anything. But you know, this is what I do for a living. So if you guys are you know, think of it as like lessons. And I want to help those who are more serious about this. So anyway, thank you guys so much for supporting me. This is my job, and yeah, it means a lot. It really, really, really means a lot. So let's do a few more. I hope I don't sound too self-promotional. Anyway, JRP Adventures. Okay, so we got an adventure Instagram. Lots of reflections. Okay, let's talk about. Okay, let's talk about this image right here. So, what I like about it is he did a really good job. He did a solid reflection. But one thing that would make the reflection a little more compelling, there's two things. So, in photography, there's a term I like to call light snobs. And basically, most images that look good are going to look even better when you shoot them during sunset or sunrise. So the light snobs of the world are those who only shoot during those amazing times of day, which is kind of ridiculous, but it definitely does guarantee a better image. And what is shot during, like an image shot at 2 p.m., I guarantee will usually look better shot at at 8:30 p.m. during sunset. However, you gotta try all different times. Another thing is using a neutral density filter to shoot during the day can help you use a really slow shutter speed. And then if you look at the water, you see these little ripples in it. A slower shutter speed will let you have the water actually average out and it look really, really smooth, which is perfect for reflections. And I have a whole photo tutorial actually on this. So if you're curious about taking nice photos of water, I recommend, there's a fly right here. I have a photo tutorial called 10-stop neutral density filter, or daytime, I think it's called daytime long exposure photography for beginners. Definitely check that out and you will learn. All right, 10 more minutes, guys. and then we cruise. So let's do someone else. All right, and hey, Jacob M, thank you so much for the donation, and guys, everyone here, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you're learning. I'm so caught up right now just trying to rack my brain to talk about images that I feel like I haven't been able to pay as much attention to the chat as I'd like to, but I'm really looking forward to hearing what you guys have to say about this. Anyway, let's talk about some photos. Okay. Alright, so our next photographer is Cameron, and he shoots with an iPhone 7 Plus or a Sony a6000. Let's look around. Okay, so a good mix between portraits and landscapes. Let's do... I'm interested in 2 images right now. This one kind of intrigues me for its simplicity, but this just looks like a really nice portrait. Okay, so, alright, let's talk about this image. I have some things I like, some things I really don't like. So, first of all, I really like his positioning. So, as you can see, he got low, and he has these high, I think this is wheat, I think, that's coming up and framing her, and it's also just, it looks cool because it's out of focus, and yeah, just looks neat. And I also like the windmill, just a cool kind of country vibe, I guess. I don't know, it's a relaxing Instagram in my opinion. What I don't like is the framing on the body. I can also try and, right now, if you see her face is almost overlapping with the windmill. If you were to move a little bit over to your right, then you could have a little bit of empty space, so her face would be framed in between the left side of the screen, the edge of the photo, and the windmill, rather than kind of overlapping. Just something to consider. But yeah, dude, this is a relax. I feel like I'd like to see more of her right side. It seems like a little bit cut off to me, and I think it's okay to cut off. I think it's okay to cut off the body sometimes, but for some reason, the head just seems kind of I don't know. I feel like there's just not enough space on the left side. So I would maybe, and then there's a lot of empty space on the right. I would maybe step back a little bit. Instagram. I feel like I'm chilling on this page. All right, next photographer. Oh, and thank you so much for the donation, guys. Cage, you're the man. Okay, Jacob.url. All right, so Jacob said, he gave me the preface that he likes constructive criticism, and he's using a Canon Rebel T6i and an iPhone 7 Plus. All right, let's see what we're working with here. Okay. Alright, I'm going to say 2 things. So first, I like this image. I like the simplicity of it. I like the balance. I think it'd be really cool during sunset because I'm a light snob, but this is neat. I have a little critique on this image though in particular. So what I don't like about it is the flowers are in focus and her face is a little bit out of focus, which is fine. I think it's cool sometimes to take portraits where the subject or the person is out of focus, but what I don't like is when the person's just a little bit out of focus. So if she were super out of focus, it'd be like this very clear, deliberate thing, and he'd be using a super low aperture number, nice depth of field in the image, which is always nice, maybe even a little bit of bokeh with the white flowers he could have gotten. But instead, she's just a little bit out of focus, and it looks like either an accident or like you're just not really sure what to look at. So it's just like a little bit off to me, and something that's a little bit off, but clearly off, can throw an image off. So I definitely consider that. And Bailey Pena, who said I don't look at this chat, you're wrong. You're very wrong. Okay. All right, guys. I'm going to do 5 more images. You know, that might even be ambitious. Let's do 3 more for the sake of my voice. And yeah, let's pick a random Instagram. All right, Ben Bro, you've been talking a lot about your Instagram in the chat, and Dolomites photos I'm a sucker for. So if I can freeze this chat and find your Instagram again, I'm gonna do it. One sec, guys. And let's hit a little bit of face action. Boom. Ben Bro. All right. Ben Bro Instagram. One sec, guys. Ooh, I've got a banana here that I'm very much looking forward to eating once this is over. I've been talking way too much. Eat a banana. Okay. Alright, so far I haven't been pranked by anyone sending me like gross explicit images or like gnarly stuff. So thank you guys for that. Though I'm not opposed to being sent some fun memes. So, you know. Alright, Ben Bro, we have got your Instagram locked and loaded. And we're gonna do 2 more after this because my voice is starting to fade out. So, oh my god. Alright. These are, oh man, the Dolomites are so sick. So for those of you who don't know, the Dolomites are a national park and a mountain range, the Italian Alps, and the northern tip of Italy. And they're absolutely beautiful. And this is the Dolomites too. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about empty space. So in this image, he could have had it super zoomed in and only shown what is in the bottom left, just the subject standing at the edge of the cliff. But for a dramatic effect, he's way more zoomed out, and you get an idea of this whole big valley and mountainous range beyond him. The clouds are above him, and it's really, really dramatic. So sometimes having a lot of empty space, it's kind of empty, basically. It's not like there's any crazy stuff happening. You could have, yeah, this is cool. I love a good, simple image, and I'd say this is definitely in that territory. Something kind of nitpicky that I think you should be careful with. Excuse me. It looks like he's wearing some kind of backpack. If you notice, he's silhouetted the subject, and he has a strange looking silhouette. So sometimes the backpack can look really nice in these like adventure photos, because it's like, oh, you're hiking, you're camping, backpacking, you should obviously have a backpack. But sometimes I find the backpack looks kind of just like weird and lumpy. So sometimes it's nice just to say, hey, like, if you're going to have someone go stand on the edge of the cliff, hey, take your backpack off, man. Could look cool. But that is very nitpicky of me. So, all right, let's do 2 more images, and then we call it a day. Thank you, Ben Bro. All right. Okay, so I see a comment here that I want to just address really quick. Someone said that, you know, reviewing someone's images seems a bit pretentious. And here's my take on that. I think that it is. I mean, I'm asserting some sort of dominance in saying like, oh, I have the authority to review people's images. And here's the thing, I don't. You know, I'm just a kid that likes to take photos, and I'd like to review people's photos because there are some people that I'm better at photographing and can hopefully provide some sort of advice. However, I'm not a professional. I am just someone that really likes to take photos for fun. So, you know, take my opinion for whatever it's worth. Hopefully some people are learning from it. But it is just, you know, just me trying to help people. And yeah, so it might be of no value to some photographers. But anyway, let's pick a random one. Okay, someone who's been photographing for 7 years, Mr. Andrew. Let's check out your Instagram. Alright. Steers Photography. Okay. Alright, you know what, guys? I think I'm going to have to make this my last one. Now, I am going to stick around after and maybe just mess around in the chat for a little bit. But, yeah, the voice is going. So, let's talk about Steers Photography. Alright. Shoots with an 80D. He's from England, it seems. And sports photography. Interesting. Alright. Okay, let's talk about this image right here. This is sick. The doubles run skateboarding, really, really neat. Let's let it load. I feel like my energy is just like slowly decreased in my enthusiasm, but this is still, this is fun. So this is cool. It looks like the guy almost is airing over him. I don't think he is, but maybe he is. It's hard to tell, honestly. It kind of looks like the guy on the right's throwing out his board. But anyway, one thing I would do to make this image way stronger is the content aware tool in Photoshop. There's also one in Lightroom. I prefer using it in Photoshop, where you could actually take this and you see the people and the lamp that are just peeking out over the coping, and even this building here. They're fine, but to make this image a little more like focused on the subject, the two skateboarders, especially this guy I don't like, you can just highlight them using a lasso tool and content aware in Photoshop, and just remove them so that they are gone. And suddenly there are no like little distractions. And I know it's a very micro thing, but it definitely helps. So yeah, something to consider. And with that, I think we are fully reviewed. Wow. Okay, I don't know how many images we just did, but it feels like a lot. Oh, there's one super chat that I didn't do. Hold on, guys. We're gonna do. All right, you guys just hit me with super chats, and because I'm a sucker, I'm going to, let's hit some reviews really quick. We're gonna do 2 more, and then it's over. All right, 1 sec, guys. Christopher, I did not forget about you. All right, but I'm actually gonna have to cut it off here. So, all right, Christopher and Finn Hitchcock. 1 sec. All right, Finn Hitchcock, let's talk. I think I found your Instagram. And Christopher, I'm having trouble with yours, so just you could throw it up in the chat again. I don't know if you misspelled it or not, but it's not working for me right now. Okay. All right. Okay, laptop screen. All right. So we've got our last one for the day, and I'll talk to Christopher later. Just shoot me an email, and we'll figure it out. Finn Hitchcock. Images. All right, let's talk about long exposures. So this looks like got a cool guiding line here. It's a cool curve, and it looks like he shot this on some sort of overpass. Now, a couple thoughts here that could make this image a little bit better, or worse. So you notice on the left you have the red lights from what looks to be a truck that must have braked for a second. And that's really cool, but what I always like to do is shoot a bunch of different images. As soon as I find the perfect long exposure and I have all my settings right, I still shoot 5 more because the lights vary every single time. And maybe you like those lights, maybe you don't. That's really super subjective. But yeah, just one of those things where maybe you don't want them. Yeah. Another thing is the sky is kind of, it's okay. It would definitely look a little more exciting on a clear night during sunset, or yeah, just a super cloudy day is hard sometimes. But I don't know. Anyway, guys, as you can see, I'm running out of energy, and I feel like I'm not going to be able to give the best possible photo reviews that I can give. So we're going to do this maybe next week. Let me think about it and assess. And if you guys enjoy this, please hit me with the thumbs up, leave a comment, and just let me know, because I do really, really appreciate any feedback so I can make these as awesome as possible. And Christopher, I know I didn't get to you. Shoot me an email, and I will. I'll write you a review. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining me on this live stream. I had a blast. Hopefully you guys did too, and I hope that you learned stuff. And stay tuned for more in the future. Thank you so much for joining me. I've got a banana to eat now, and my friend's cooking me Indian dinner tonight. So I will see you eventually. Live stream